How you all doing today? Morning, folks. Brody here on the morning show for Thursday. Nice to see y'all hanging out with me, Mr. DJ, the long hair. How you doing, buddy? Thursday, May the 11th. All right. Nice to see you folks today. Morning stocks and talks. Got a couple of good news articles for you all this morning. Richie Noobs, how you doing, buddy? Do you think the dude abides, Richie? The dude abides. Getting that link ready for the round table. Nice, nice. Well, nice to see you all here this morning. I got a good show planned for today. Gonna get the chat going. Twiddler's in the house. How you guys doing? All right. Before I start the show, I want you to look something up here after the show. Pulse Chain, hex.com. Big topics today. Can you join us, Brody? I might be able to join. Yeah. I got real busy over at the work machine here in the last little bit. But I might be able to do that this morning. Last chance to buy Hex before Pulse Chain launches. What does that mean? I don't know. Let's see here. Brent can't watch that here. He has to pay 100. I'm still trying to track down the source, but huge rumor going around. I like it. Good big rumor going around. Hey, there's rumors going around. I got some rumors for you. Bro Dizzle. Brent can't watch though, or he has to pay 100. Nice, nice. What do French people call a really bad Thursday? Tragedy. eBay is trying to acquire Star City Games. Shh, don't tell anybody. Very big news this morning here. Thanks for joining us, folks, on the morning show. It's Thursday, May the 11th, 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's Brody Alfonso here on the morning show. I got just a quick question for you folks here today. Do you like tracking? Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Is there enough information out there? Or perhaps there's just too much information. Let me do it for you. I'm doing it each and every day, Monday through Friday here on the morning show with the bro to the D. Thanks for joining me. What do the French call a really bad Thursday? Tragedy. And couple of Magic the Gathering news articles to go over here this morning. I've got to give a tweet to Matthew Grzecznik. I do have to tweet him out here this morning. He's got a pretty good article coming to us from the stock desk. I'm excited to read it. I want to check that out with you folks here this morning. We're going to go over your movers and your shakers today and check out a little bit of Magic the Gathering news. Before we do that, let's pour ourselves a coffee let's check out the stream, make sure things are working just right. And by that, I mean, let's have that first cup of coffee. Oh, it's going to be good. I'm glad to do it here this morning with you folks. Wherever you are, wherever you've got Brody joining for today, May 11th, today's show, wherever you are, wherever you've got Brody, whether you got me on the dash of the car, maybe you got me in your back pocket, hanging from the rear view mirror, dragging from the bumper, sitting next to the coffee pot, wherever you are, may the sun be on your face and the wind at your back. Enjoy a cup of coffee or a snack. Join us here in the chat today for May 11th, 2023. I know your time is valuable and you don't have time to waste, so let's just take a look at some AI-generated magic cards this morning. We're going to rate them, pass or fail, pretty simple. Going to get warmed up here. Brody's going to warm up the chops here, make sure the stream is working real nice, make sure the chat's working, and have a little conversation with you folks. If you haven't been here once before, you know how it works. If the card is playable any way whatsoever, you're going to hear this sound. Even if it's a little bit overcosted, that's the sound of the dinger. And if there's any gibberish on the card whatsoever, you're going to hear this sound, the sound of the buzzing, cousin. Ooh, that's coming in real good. All right, let's do it. Let's take a look at some of these AI-generated magic cards here this morning. This one's good. This one's a good one, ladies and gentlemen. I like this one. Rage Starker. Rage Starker. All right, let's check this one out here. Oh, let's make sure my cam, the Brody cam, is coming in just right. Rage Starker. I like this one. It looks like Brody on a Monday morning, doesn't it? Rage Starker. This one's a 2/2. It's a bear. It's a grizzly bear. That's all it is. It's a grizzly bear. One green and two for this little Grizzly Adams. Grizzly fella. Very grizzly looking bear here this morning. The Rage Starker. What does it do for us? Let's have a look. The ticker. Ticker's down today. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? Nothing can get me down. I'm sorry, but it's going to take a whole lot more than that to get Brody down. That's okay. This Rage Starker's a 2/2. It's 1 green and 2. It's a zombie. No doubt it's a zombie. Look at this thing. It's disgust. It costs a green and 4. When Rage Starker enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. Okay, maybe this can get me down. It's got energy back up on the card. Oh my gosh. Why energy? But it's playable for 2 turns. Okay, when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. When it attacks, you may pay an energy. When you do, it gets 2/0 until end of turn. Oh, wow. So you can make it a 6/4 once based on its own energy. What does the Encore mechanic do? Or is it just a French word for once again? Let's see here. Why the energy? I don't know, DJ. It's playable for 2 turns, right? Yeah, that's why. Because we got to get some... you got to get something out of this. Encore, is that a legit effect? Is that something that you have to pay its casting costs? Or is it just another more French diversity here in Canada? Richie Dub's not big on the AI cards. Well, let's give this one a pass. Let's assume Encore is a playable mechanic. Yo, Anger Collection's in the house. Let's rate this one. Fair, OP, unplayable word salad. Let's give it a fair. 91% of people say fair. Swamp. Similar art to the islands and plains we took a look at yesterday. All right, let's pass this one. How about this one? Richie Dubs, this card's for you. Viashino Prorogation. What's a prorogation? I don't know, but it's an elemental. It costs 1. How are you not a fan of these, Richie Dubs? 3/4 for 1 mana? Talk about a cheap creature. 3/4 for 1. When Viashino Prorogation enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, target attacking creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is its power. Kicker 2. Trouble is, this doesn't have flash on it. No flash. How's it going to target an attacking creature if it can't get on the battlefield? If you can't cast it during attack phase. Fair unplayable word salad. It's unplayable. OP. No, it needs flash. How can you cast it with a kicker and give an attacking creature +X/+X? Dual Brains in the house. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Brody? Hit that like, people. I am going to send you a couple of photos here this morning. Ed, the Dual Brain. I've been working on some cards. I got some stuff coming up. DJ Longhair is hitting us up with an invite to join the roundtable tonight, so I'm excited to see if I can make it. I got to just clear my schedule. I got a busy day ahead of me. Wherever you are in the world, thanks for joining us here this morning. We're going to look at this Lothlesh Chromation Vampire Warrior. This looks like a planeswalker to me. 4 loyalty, 2. It's got Liliana mana. That rhymes. Okay. 2 black pips and colorless on it for this Vampire Planeswalker Warrior. Choose target permanent you control. You choose a creature type. It's still put into owner's graveyard. And a -6 each player draws a card. It seems really bad considering the +1 doesn't do much. Choose target permanent you control. You choose a creature type. It's still put in its owner's grave. Get out of here. Unplayable word salad. Let's give it some word salad. And this one here, repair the dragons. Destroy them all. I think we looked at this one yesterday. Cool. Let's get it out of here. Good morning, Dual Brain. Good morning, Mr. DJ. Oh, Streamlabs? You buggered up today? Come on now. See, this is why we test things here in the morning. Some things working, some things not. All right, folks, thanks for joining me here this morning. We got Mr. Ed, the Dual Brain, in the house. Twiddler's Place, Benson. You buggered up. Your English heritage is showing. Benson's in the house. Time Capsule? Did I see Time Capsule? Richie Dubs? I did. This is the Bro to the D, bringing you the morning show here on May the 11th. I hope Matt Grzecznik is watching today, because we're going to be reading an article here from Matt over at the Stock Desk. If you haven't heard, there's a rumor going around, and there's only one place to catch it on the discussion over at Mr. DJ Longhair's round table on Thursday nights. Head there now. No, don't head there now. You'll be early. But there is a good discussion coming up this evening over there. I can't wait to be a part of it. Hit me up with a link, DJ. I'm going to try and meet you folks over there for a spell and join the chat. It'd be good to hang out with you guys. I miss you. It'd be great to see you guys again. Get the whole team back together. Morning Stocks and Talks. Let's get into some articles here this morning for you folks. A little bit of Magic the Gathering New Horizons Aftermath. Let's check out this article by Magic Grisette. This card is very his name is very difficult for me to say. New Horizons, the Aftermath. I'll read this article for you folks here this morning. Have a sip of coffee. Join us here on an adventure. That's going down good. All right, what do we got here by Matt Grzechnik? Maybe it's pronounced simpler than I think. Grechnik. It's a difficult one. All right, let's take a look. March of the Machine Aftermath is a new product type being trialed by Wizards of the Coast. The micro set, with only 50 cards sold in epilogue boosters, contains 2 to 4 commons in a pack and 1 to 3 rares. These are those little 5-card booster packs. And it costs the same as a 15-card booster. Oh, wow. Along with those 50 cards, there is, of course, the addition of 180 alternates available with different arts or foil treatments, and notably no serialized cards this time around. With the reintroduction of planeswalkers as legendary creatures and a few insights into the affected planes, Aftermath feels exceedingly like a cut content rebranding into a separate product. Look, it feels like cut content rebranding into a separate product. Interesting. You know, when Brody takes those 1-hour live streams and cuts them up into 61-minute shorts? Maybe that's what Wizards of the Coast is doing here with this product. It's all the stuff that didn't go into the main set. Perhaps. This paired with a tumultuous preview cycle, this product will surely remain memorable for some time. This is the one that was spoiled over at old school MTG and opened the booster packs. Got the heavy hitters at his door. So some cards that were reprinted in the March of the Machines Aftermath includes this card, Training Grounds, a really cool enchantment. Now this one, it was expensive, the Training Grounds. Let's take a look at the original Training Grounds. I'm just gonna get a little bit of back feed on this card. Training Grounds. We don't want the March of the Machine Aftermath. We want the original. Training Grounds. I got it on the list, but Rise of the Eldrazi, a $25 enchantment card. Costs you blue, and it says activate abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana that costs to less than 0 mana. So it's like a power artifact on a creature. It's like power a creature, I guess. Except it's a little cheaper than power artifact. So any creature that has like a mana activation that costs you a little bit of mana to activate it, this Training Grounds goes onto the battlefield, and it does it not just for one creature, for all your creatures. The activated abilities that they have cost a couple less. Under the Master's Eye, skills are honed sharper than the spells cut deeper. All right. So we saw this card in Rise of the Eldrazi Aftermath, and it's expensive. I remember it's quite expensive. Let's take a look at the chart on it here, because I know this card was expensive and now it's sort of ticking down in price because of the new reprint. Let's see here. All right, coming along here at about the 10-12 bucks. Take a little bump up in price right around Amonkhet. And then what about up to around Strixhaven is when this card kind of hit the all-time high, and now it looks like it's just falling off a log. Definitely taking a downward turn for the worst right here. This little downward turn. Is it going to consider on its downward trajectory? Quite possibly with the new reprint. But let's get back to the article. So now we know a little bit of a backstory on Training Grounds. It holds an intriguingly high valuation despite not seeing any play in Modern, Legacy, or Vintage. The card itself is a combo piece in EDH decks. It's a combo piece because you can, well, what are we using it with? It's a combo piece in EDH decks that goes infinite with one or two more supporting pieces. Being the predecessor to Biomancer's Familiar, a bulk rare from Ravnica Allegiance, the price point of Training Grounds presented similarly in the past. First printed in Rise of the Eldrazi, the card developed a relatively slow uptick in price until the mid-2017 when scarcity and supply became an issue. Drastically speaking, at an all-time high of $64.99, the price has since averaged $32 and is rapidly decreasing, with the new reprint being on the list and now occupying a rare slot in a mini set would make that price of Training Grounds would indicate that the price of Training Grounds will continue to decrease until it finds a steady equilibrium against other copies. Benson says, any lapsed or former Yu-Gi-Oh players here remember the 5-card tournament packs? Aftermath reminds me of that. Cool comment. I didn't know that there was a thing for Yu-Gi-Oh. The Training Grounds first released during the Rise of Eldrazi level up mechanic cards, and it also makes Sliver Queen's ability cheaper. Sliver Queen over Biomancer's Familiar. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana to less than 1. So Biomancer's Familiar, this mutant, it's quite a mutant. Mutante. All right, let's keep going. Good comment. Thank you, Benson. Having been a core element of the game since its inception, activated abilities will continue in the future with other cards that interact or care about them. Tazri, Stalwart Survivor, provides an example of such within the set, as it creates support and home for 5-color activated ability tribal. Let's look at this 3/3. Cost is a white and 2. Legendary Human Warrior. Each creature has tap. Add 1 mana of any color. Any of the creature's color. Spend this mana only to activate an ability of a creature. Activate only if this creature has another activated ability. What a kind of a complicated card. So you get Tazri, the Stalwart Survivor, gives your creatures tap, add a mana of any color, and then you can spend that mana just for activated ability, so everything becomes a dork. I guess that doesn't seem too bad. There does seem to be better options out there. However, it's got the Wooburg, 1 of every color, and tap it. Mill 5 cards. Put all the creature cards with activated abilities that aren't mana abilities from among the milled cards into your hand. Tazri, the Stalwart Survivor, provides an example of such within this set, as it creates support and a home for 5-color activated ability tribal. What are you playing, Brody? I'm playing 5-color activated ability tribal. What's it to you? All right. It's left to players in the individual interpretation to consider the strength and capabilities of these effects. However, with each new set release, fewer creatures can be classified as vanilla, thus providing greater potential for Training Grounds. Less vanilla, more flavor, just like the morning show here with Brody. All right, Rebuild the City. Some more cards from the spoiled Aftermath March of the Machine, which is now coming to a local game store near you, or just straight up to Amazon. Rebuild the City's inclusion into this recently unveiled set has generated significant excitement among players. Exciting, the card's potential to create multiple copies of a chosen target land has led to speculation regarding its ability to be exploited for maximum effect. Well, if you're not exploiting a Magic card for maximum effect, then I would say you're probably doing it wrong. Let's check this out. Ooh, it's a Jund card? Red, a black, a green, and 3 for this sorcery to rebuild the city. Choose target land, create 3 tokens that are copies of it, except they're 3/3 creatures in addition to their other types, and they have vigilance and menace. Wow. What are we going to target with this new land? Wow, they get to be 3/3. You get 3 copies. What are you going to copy? The Urza Saga? What are we copying? Mazavith? All right. You can create multiple copies of the chosen land. It's led to speculation about the ability to be exploited. While copying a single object may not be powerful an ability on its own, the potential to create 2 more copies of a valuable target could provide a game-changing advantage. Many people conceive that the card to be as influential as rights of replication. Let's remind ourselves, what's this one? Sorcery for 4 mana, 2 blue and 2, kicker 5? Yeah. Put a token into the battlefield that's a copy of target creature. If it was kicked, put 5 tokens onto the battlefield instead. Holy smokes. Cinco de tokens. Many conceive the card to be influential as Right of Replication, a popular spell from a decade ago that could single-handedly decide the outcome of a game. Players have identified several lands that could benefit significantly from being copied. How about Wasteland? How about that? Particularly those with underlying utility. For example, include Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. This is a great article. This article is full of tech here. Holy smoke, Matt. I like this. Valakut the Molten Pinnacle is the one that you see quite often in Modern. It's the land that cares about mountains. It's a big old volcano, right? From Zendikar. Let's see. Molten Pinnacle enters the battlefield tap. When it enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut the Molten Pinnacle deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Taps for a red. So it's a red card. It's a mountain. No, it's a colorless land. It's a mountain. It taps for red. And it cares about mountains. Of course, this would Blood Moon or an Escape Shift deck. It does shenanigans. You want to use Escape Shift to go fetch up more copies of lands. They all enter at the same time. So if 5 mountains enter at once, it checks for each one of them. And then you deal like 15 damage to the face. It's a real game-ending mechanic. Considering it's on a land, it's kind of hard to deal with. So now Valakut can deal 12 damage divided into 3s to any creature or player. On the other hand, Field of the Dead can create a massive board state while simply being able to copy. However, these are best case scenarios. Field of the Dead checking, giving you some zombies with its effectiveness much less pronounced in other circumstances. One potential downside and a bonus of the card is that each of the 3 copies created is also a 3/3 creature, which makes with vigilance and menace, which provides 9 power with evasion on board. Currently, the card is valued at just under $8. It's likely to increase significantly unless there are other synergistic lands introduced later. I just think 3 copies of Wasteland seems pretty disgusting. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, and Ob Nixilis, the Captive Kingpin. All right, this is the one. Oh my gosh, this card is the one that was making. This one was like a corduroy pillow last weekend. It was making headlines. Ob Nixilis, the Captive Kingpin. This is the Rakdos card that is a 4/3. It costs a red, a black, and 2 for this demon creature. So another demon tribal, Liliana's Contract, and a few other cards getting some more demon support. But that's not where we're going to see this Ob Nixilis, the Captive Kingpin, necessarily. It's probably going to be in the Cat Oven deck or likely somewhere else. This card's very powerful. It's flying, it's trample. So I want the Obi, right? And Nissa for sure. The Obi Nixilobi. Obi Nix Kenobi. It's got Flample, Flying Trample. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on Ob Nixilis, Captive Kingpin. Exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play that card. The interesting thing I found about this is with the Cat Oven deck is if you proc it on your opponent's turn, it's like you get the card during your opponent's turn and then all the way during your main phase of your next turn and then on the end step, because it says at the beginning until your next end step. So if you can activate this on your opponent's turn, it's extra attendees because you get to play that card until the end of your next turn. And then you could possibly do it again during your main phase and then like get 2 cards that you can hold on to. So Ob Nixilis, the Captive Kingpin, provides a fantastic addition to the ever-increasing number of exiled related advantage engines. Combining the popularity of the red impulse draw and the ping drain of the black color identity, this card shows real potential and flexibility to build around. Currently priced at an average of $19 before the release, the trajectory of this price will more than likely follow a downward trend down to $10. As shown in the European market, many people are referring to Ob Nixilis as the alternative to Prosper Tombbound. What's this? Okay, this is same mana as Slaughter Games, I guess. It's black or red and 2, Prosper Tombbound, Death Touch, Mystic Arcanum. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. Pack Boon, whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. Seems better. Is that Hellboy on there? No, it's a Tiefling Warlock. He's missing a couple of horns. He's had him cut off. So Nixilis acting as a possible alternative to the Prosper, the Tomebound, similarly in playability are comparable. Power and toughness and the like. Currently, there's not enough support for this card to break out of the standard metagame, although there is a certain cat oven combination that players may look to trial in Pioneer. Style 006, nice to see you here this morning. Thanks for joining. Prosper will love Ob Nixilis. Putting aside obvious interactions with cards like All Will Be One. Yes, this is the one that does all kinds of stuff, isn't it? Okay, remind me here. All Will Be One. The namesake card of the Phyrexian set. 2 red and 3, whenever you put one or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent. Creature an opponent controls or planeswalker that opponent controls. Oh, so this deals that nice round 1 number. So with all, wow, that actually seems really good. So we got the obvious interaction with Ob Nixilis and All Will Be One, which goes infinite with Ob Nixilis once activated. It goes infinite? Oh yeah, put a 1/1 counter on Ob Nixilis. So it goes infinite, just like on its own. You don't even have to try to go infinite these days. You just put it right in the set. Right? So it goes infinite because Ob Nixilis gets the 1/1 counter, and then it deals 1, and then it procs, and then it does it again, except that you... Does it say may exile the... exile the top card of your library. So you just don't want to mill yourself out. Watch out for that, right? Oh my god. Okay. So the obvious interaction with All Will Be One going infinite with Ob Nixilis once activated, there's 2 other cards that look to be rallying in price. Keeper of Secrets. This demon 6/4, whatever costs you 1 red and 5. It's got First Strike and Haste. Symphony of Pain? Doesn't sound like a good song that I want to be singing. Check it out. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Keeper of Secrets deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. And Nalfashni, bless you, Nalfashni, Gesundheit. Okay, I'm going to point out the obvious. Nalfashni, the Beast Demon, packing a set of... what do you think of the art on this card? Okay, it's... You know, there was an episode of Seinfeld where Kramer invented the bro. Nalfashni could use a bro. He really could. The 4/6 demon that says whenever you cast a spell from exile, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. If it's a permanent spell, the copy gains haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice the permanent. They both have seen an increase in demand due to their interactions with Ob Nixilis. Looking over the last few years of Commander products and standard sets, it feels like Wizards are dead set on red's color identity being associated with impulse draw. Due to this, more cards incorporating this mechanic are bound to make waves, while a few supporting cards that we have already access to are unlikely to see meaningful reprint at that time. Mr. Costanza invented the bro. Was it Costanza that invented the bro? Was it Costanza? Or was it Costanza or was it Kramer? It was Costanza. Okay. Well, now we got a potential customer here with Navishni. Perhaps he could, he could be the poster child for the bro. They together went in on it. Thank you, Astrid Media. I love me some Seinfeld references here this morning. In conclusion, the March of the Machine Aftermath represents a distinctive product that should be appreciated for its uniqueness. Over time, there will be a significant market correction in prices to balance against those currently observed during the pre-order stage. This correction will occur as the single market stabilizes in the first week after release, as more boosters and duplicate cards are open. Based on personal perspective, there is a major shift in the design of standard sets in order to support other formats of the game, such as Commander and Modern, whereas previously only a few cards would apply to these formats. It now seems that every set needs to feature some kind of upgrade to a previously printed card or to be packed with legendary creatures in order to boost sales. Join Matt for the next installment of New Horizons as we delve into the Secret Lair Spring Super Drop 2023. Thanks, Matt, for joining us. I got a connection with Matt over on Twitter, and if you want to connect with Matt and share some appreciation for the work that he does and some articles that he writes, some very well written articles here for us to enjoy on the Stock Desk morning. Matt started playing Magic with the release of Dragon's Mage, and since then has tried to experiment with all the formats before discovering his love for EDH and Pauper. Piloting the same gen deck for 10 years, he now tries to both understand and break Sealed as a format. Very cool. Thank you, Matt. What's that? Is that Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson, the Planeswalker? Is that interesting? Interesting. Mike Tyson has found his spark here. I like it. Little uppercut for you folks this morning. Good morning, amazing fans of Magic the Gathering. The 311 of you amazing subscribers who love this game as much as we do. Thanks again for tuning in this morning. We're going over a couple of news articles for you folks this morning and some hilarity here. Let's look at one more hilarious card. Stream Deck is working a little funny here. Woman Face, enchanted creature has cumulative upkeep, affirm delusions. Affirm delusions. Enchanted creature has cumulative upkeep, affirm delusions, and enchanted creature gains hexproof and groom. Interesting. Some hilarious cards here. Thanks to the AI. If you didn't this one's for you, Richie Dubs. If you didn't like the AI generated Magic cards that we were showing you early this morning, this maybe this one's more to your liking. Gleemox. Add 1 mana of any color. This card is banned. It just says it right on it. So people getting creative using the AI themselves. Not only you can find it on the Robo Rosewater site over on Twitter, you can find some of these submissions on Reddit as well. I like it. You know what time it is? It's time for your movers and your shakers. If you're shaking your feet and you're moving in your seat, it's time for us to head on over to your movers and their shakers list here this morning. It's May 11th, 2023. Thanks for joining me here, fans who love the game as much as we do. We're going to be bringing you some more Magic talks and some more Magic stocks, some news in the world of Magic the Gathering as it's happening. Here on the morning show, it's Legacy Day, Thursday. I ask your boss, if your boss asks you why you've been late 4 times this week, just tell him it's because it's only Thursday, right? All right, I've been keeping on my diet. I've been doing pretty well with it. No ice cream on Thursday, none on Friday, none on Saturday, but then Sunday. Let's check out. These are your movers and your shakers here this morning for May 11th, 2023. Appreciate you folks for joining me. We're going to look at some cards here on the stock desk. What do we got here? Style 406. Style 006. Showing a little style. Thanks for showing a little style. Hit the like button there this morning, folks. I appreciate it. Let's people know that the show is going to grow. Legacy, here we go. Is this really? Dust my eyes, deceive me. Brody, I'm gonna have to grab another sip of coffee because I can't believe it. Good morning. I couldn't get through the 007 program, so I accepted the office position. Nice. I hear it's difficult. The interview, kind of tough. All right, let's check this out. The Savannah Lions at the top of the pile here this morning from Unlimited, coming in at $340. Can you believe it? That this is now this is sort of what does Wizards have to do to attract new players? They have to print more incredibly powerful Magic cards. Savannah Lions used to be the original 2/1 for 1 mana, but now we've got the banana for 2 mana. the banana wielding monkey for 1 mana, the 2/1. This was the king of the jungle at one point in time, and it still is in old school, okay? There isn't anything quite like it. It's still a good card if you're playing old school Magic the Gathering and perhaps the White Weenie deck. This is the part of the tech of the deck that you folks will say, what the heck? They don't mention it here at all. Why don't they mention old school in the formats? Well, because it's not a recognized format by Wizards of the Coast. Some of these websites only care about your recognized formats like Standard, Alchemy, Historic, Pioneer, Explorer, Modern. This is hilarious, hey? Like, what have they gone and done? They created 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 new formats. There's 4 new pre-modern formats, not including Standard. So because we wanted like more pre-modern formats, we had to create Explorer and then Pioneer and then Historic and then Alchemy and then Standard. It's getting to be a little much, right? How long until we get another pre-modern format? I don't know, but with the way things are moving in the world, maybe Legacy is seeming more and more like the place that you want to be. These eternal formats that don't rotate. How about that? If we can't get our, like, who can play Alchemy, Historic, Pioneer, and Explorer and then be like, yeah, and then a little Standard to boot? I don't know how you have that many 5 pre-modern decks. Very difficult to keep up with. In fact, I would say there's probably nobody out there. How many people are out there that are actually playing all 5 of the pre-modern formats? Hard to say. But it's another way of Wizards of the Coast creating inclusivity, right? More inclusivity. They don't care about being inclusive. They just care about selling you more Magic cards in whichever way they can. So the Savannah Lions got a home. This card's taking a tick up in price. The unlimited version is $340, taking a little tick up in kind of a volatile price turn. Let's look at it. It was cruising along around the $100, then took a little tick up to $100, then the 200 a spike. Very volatile chart. Like, it's got a lot of ups and downs to it. You know, particularly right in this area, you know, these pokey needle-like shapes. This means like the price is swinging up and down quite rapidly in a short period of time, and volatility. You know, this is the thing. I sit here and I say, "Oh, it's very volatile. It's very volatile. It looks like a crown, right?" A lot of people like volatility, all right, and like that's not necessarily to say it's a bad thing. Okay, like volatility. This will be the stock term of the day. Volatility. When people say that, they're usually it's usually a cacophony or like a bad connotation towards it. Like, oh, it's very volatile. It's very, stay away from it. On the flip side, in contrast to volatility, some people like volatility, especially if they're trading or swing trading. Like, for example, I used to work with a guy who every morning I'd come into work and he was like, he'd have the stock charts open every day and he was like trading oil stocks. This guy was like a lot of fun to work with because every time I'd come in the morning, he was like one of those kick the dog type of guys. Like he'd be in the morning. He'd already have his computer set up before anybody got there. He'd have all his paperwork set up and filled out, and then he'd have the stock charts up, and he'd be looking at the news, and he'd be checking the CC. Like right now, if the stock markets aren't open here in Canada, but like in a couple, but they're already open in the other side of the world where they're a couple hours ahead, and even the Asian markets open first. So like here in the Western front, we're like last to to open our markets because of the time change. But like this is where like people who trade on a daily basis, like they love volatility because if you buy something one day and it goes up, you can sell it in a very short window of time, get out, make a couple of bucks, and then like wait for it to go back down again. And then hit it again. And like there's some index funds that are out there. So an index fund is a fund that is tied to a commodity. It isn't buying that commodity itself. It'd be like a Savannah Lions. If we started a Savannah Lions index fund, I think we should start the Savannah Lions index fund. That would be a fund that goes up or down based on the price of Savannah Lions. It isn't buying Savannah Lions itself. It would be a fund. Now, a derivative. Like, people can make a fund brokers. This is why they call them broker. Why? Because they make them broker. Anywhere there's a market for anything, anywhere there's something people buying or selling, you can make a market for it. And price volatility can be a day trader's best friend. Because it does exactly what you want it to do. It goes up one day very quickly and then down the next day quite quickly after that. Now, I would say be very careful with stocks that are volatile. And if you don't know what you're doing, a volatile stock, and this is why people will caution folks around volatility and say, this card is very volatile. Don't buy it. So there's a couple of different strategies. So if you're a day trader trading stocks or trading like index funds, maybe there's a few of them, HOU, HOD. There's a bunch of them. But if you're day trading them, like some of them are designed to be in and out very quickly. They have a decay on them, so the longer you hold them, the more the price will go down. So Savannah Lions showing some volatility here in the market as it usually does, and it just as of lately, like look back, say sort of on some of this price chart here a little earlier, prior to 2021. This thing doesn't seem so volatile. It seems like a nice ledge pattern, like some nice plateau shaped ledge patterns like this, right? This seems far more stable than what we see from the Savannah Lions now today. So another thing that causes a price volatility is like high number of sales and a high number of purchases. If people are buying this thing en masse, driving the price up and then offloading them, that can cause the price to go down, especially with Magic cards. Now, unlike stocks, Magic cards, I like the Magic cards because they're a little slower to move. Simply because, like a stock, you can buy it digitally, you can buy it online in the internet, you can buy and sell it. You'll never actually hold the darn thing in your hands. You'll just it's just like a note. I buy this stock, okay, you've got it. And then like you sell the stock, you write a note. You don't actually get the stocks shipped to you. They don't do that. But the Magic cards are a little bit of a long lead item because they're a tangible, hard good that you can hold in your hand. Savannah Lion's expensive card for the limited version. Collectors are going to want this. There's a CCG graded 9 copy here for sale, another English version for $450. There's a BGS 8 for $500, and then there's some like played copies. See, Old Man Magic, Old Man MTG's got a copy, $200 to $300 from the vendors here. TCG Player's got a couple of copies for around the $200, so maybe it's likely that these graded copies at around the $9 and $450 and $500 mark are the ones that are pushing this card up in price. Coming in at number 1 slot here this morning, and the dual lands. I'm also sick of seeing the illusionary mask on here. I don't know why it keeps, and I'll tell you why, because I don't have one. I need one. You can request a certificate of your stock. For sure you can. You totally can request a certificate. But that's all it really is. It's a certificate. It's certified, bona fide, or rectified. That's right. Just like you can get yourself a free Patreon certificate. Just like the Alphonso Investment patron certificates, right? When we started the Freetreon, we came up with some Freetreon certificates for the Freetreons. 10 of them, in fact, right? It's just something I printed out. So you can definitely, I don't know that you have to mail those in when you want to go and sell them. But bank bonds and stuff used to be like that, where you'd actually physically have the certificate and like you could take it in and sell it, or you could hold it, or you could bury it in the backyard, or you could put it in a treasure chest and throw it off a boat. Scrubland. Here's a card. This is the bane of many new players, and I can feel it. I can feel the angst. I can feel the angst among Commander players when we look at these scrub lands and these original OG dual lands. I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a spell, but eventually Wizards of the Coast is just going to print a better land than this, okay? And you know what's going to happen? It's still going to make players angry because they are going to want scrubland as well. If you printed a scrubland, an Orzhov land that tapped for a black and a white, and it had upsides, it said taps for a black, taps for a white, when it enters the battlefield, scry and gain 1 life and draw a card, people would still be upset at the fact that the scrubland is on the reserve list and they still need one. So no matter what you do, I think it's this fool's this fool's argument. It's a hilarious argument. People say, oh, they should reprint the dual lands and they could be accessible for everybody. Okay, that's fine to say that. I get it. That makes total sense. But even if they reprinted a better dual land, to say, okay, well, what would make you happy? If we can't reprint the reserve list, let's just let's make something better. Like forget the reserve list. Let's just go reserve list 2.0. Let's put this on. Let's make a triome with an upside. People are still going to be upset about the reserve list not getting reprinted because they're going to still want the original duels to have that extra land. And then they're going to get greedy and say, I want 2. I want the scrub land with an upside, and I want the bud land with an upside. Let's check out this Orzhov land. I like that. This unlimited version is $1,000. Revised copy for me. Unlimited for thee. I know. Revised copy, $350. One of the less popular ones, but it's still really good. Even if you start at the lower tier of the reserve list of revised duels, you get yourself like the plateau and the scrubland, and then like maybe over time you can trade up. That's what I'm hoping to do. Perhaps one day get into some of these in unlimited. Let's look at the chart on this thing. Also, like, Magic is the Magic. I'll tell you what. I will tell you something. There's a lot of folks that are convinced we're in a bear market, right? And why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be in a bear market? I mean, inflation is at all-time high. Stocks and goods on the shelf, like food stocks and tangibles, useful daily items like gasoline. Prime 406, good morning. Useful daily items like gasoline, soup in a can, loaf of bread, meat is really expensive right now. And like the more we get hit with this inflation, the more we're going to see cards like this just sort of trend sideways. Like look at this chart trending sideways. But there's going to be a lot of folks that this is going to be a really hard period of time, and like buying some of these, like people who aren't employed right now. That's going to be I mean, my heart goes out for you. If you're looking for work, I really hope that something comes your way. Stay persistent. There's a big shortage of young people in the labor market. Huge shortage. So this is going to persist until it forces people to get off the couch and get to work. And that's what I'm trying to tell you folks. And then while that's happening, this east-west and the softening of these novelty items, like these revised dual lands, is going to continue to drift slowly downward and to the right in this direction until things get so bad that it forces people to get up and get to work. That's essentially what the old folks do with inflation. Old folks that are in positions of deep state positions, they love inflation because the system actually serves them in that way. Because if you're somebody on a fixed income who has fixed expenses and you've put that into perspective early on, like say 10 years ago, you're like, okay, we're going to get into tens of part-time jobs available for less than 9 hours a week. Yeah, and if the sad part is, if you go to other countries, a lot of countries, even in the South American countries, a lot of folks have 2 or 3 part-time jobs. You can't just get one full-time job. There's no such thing. There's lots of part-time jobs, and a lot of people down there work 2 to 3 or 4 part-time jobs just to get the hours that they need to survive. And that's the way the labor market is cut up. It's even worse. So here in North America, where we have to just take note of how good we have some stuff. But until and unfortunately, like easy money makes for hard times. If there's too much money going around, like for example, people have like a double set of truck nuts on your pickup. Okay, let's say like you've got a set of truck nuts on the front axle and the back axle, and you've got 42-inch tires plus the 8-inch tailpipe, maybe twin turbos and gull wing doors, and like you're hucking diesel and making like 4,200 horsepower just because diesel is cheap, and you have your income and your earning power is so high that there's a lot of money going around in young people's pockets. That's when the powers that be sort of look at the economy and saying, these young people have too much money. They're doing reckless things with it. A little inflation will trim that down. So while we're going through this period of inflation, labor market demand, we're going to see cards like this trending east to west, and it's going to persist. Using a magic term here, it's going to persist for a period of time. And cards like this, if you've got them on your radar and you can hold out, come up with a strategy to get into some of these are going to go lower, because these are not these cards are expensive, but you can't eat them. You can't eat the cardboard. So folks are going to start to be like letting some of these go. And look at the pattern on this chart here. Like, I like the spacing. So like, look at the leg up in price between, let's just clear this, make it a little smaller. We got the leg up in price between January 2018 and then January 2021. And then now it's like a fairly even spacing. These spaces in between here. Now, this doesn't mean that, okay, as soon as it gets about the same, this is just an indication of how bearish the market is. And if it continues on like this, the longer it continues on past this spacing is a further indication of a bearish market. Now, let's say deck's running the Orzhov land. I'm pretty lucky I picked up copies of some of these dual lands in the early days when I played, but the demand for Commander has pushed these cards up into like the stratosphere. And Wizards of the Coast, who's making money in situations like this? Big corporations. You need like 5 to barely get 24 hours a week. The labor market, tons of part-time jobs. Yes, the labor market is rough. I would encourage folks, anybody who's watching to, and I know anybody who's new to Magic or anybody who's practicing autonomy, to sort of be your own self-sustaining individual. Meaning, start something, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's a YouTube channel, whether it's an online store, whether it's gaming, whether you're doing games online. Start something that is your own. And the sooner you can do that and start taking control over and autonomy over your own self, the better. You got to have that side hustle. Reanimator decks, I actually like this. White Reanimator. Reanimator was strictly black and blue back in the day, but now the white and the red are seemingly good, especially with the Chancellor of the Annex. That's the card I'm looking for from New Phyrexia. This one here, it's really good. It's a 5/6 flying. Whenever opponent casts a spell, counter it unless they pay 1, and then you can reveal this from your opening hand, and if you do, each opponent casts the first spell of the game, counter that spell unless they play 1. Chancellor of the Annex, the white Reanimator target. This card's really good when you're on the draw or even on the play. It's good in both situations because it can essentially steal the play from your opponent. Plenty of jobs, but layers and layers of fake qualifications required. Interesting. Elaborate on that. Fake qualifications required. Well, that ties into the education system too, right? Like, there's a big shortage of young folks coming into the skilled labor market. Big shortage. There's a lot of people who are in their 70s that are not working, and there's a lot of people in their 60s that are still working. There's a lot of people in their 70s that are still working that won't be working for very much longer. And there's a lot of people in their 60s that are getting set to retire, and some of the biggest populations in the world at the 60s and 70-year-old mark. That was a tough time. So those folks were competing heavily for the same job because there was a lot of people the same age. And now that those folks are moving out of the labor market and out of the skilled trades market and the skilled labor market and the technical markets, those folks are definitely leaving a gap and a void, and they're taking the knowledge that they learned from years and years of experience with them. So try and get some of that. Yeah, experience is the thing that you need the minute after you realize you needed it. It's a tough. It's really tough. But if you're in your, say, mid-30s, right now, if you're in your mid-30s or 40s, you can almost ask for whatever you want in certain job markets, simply because there's a lot of people that have been in that, whatever. If you're in a skilled labor market, a skilled trades market, there's a lot of people getting out of those skilled trades, and the longevity of skilled trades workers is very. It's a low career. Well, you'd be lucky to have a long career in the skilled trades without hurting yourself, getting injured, or workplace health issues. Dual Brains is back in the house. Benson said, I made my own path after university, majored in history, minored in political science. Now I work in supply chain, working towards a master's in supply chain and history. Wow. Education, right? Education's good. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of folks in educational institutions. Pick something that you enjoy. If you love history and you like the political science, that's awesome. If you can apply it, even better. Dual Brain's excited to see his friend from Tokyo. My friend from Tokyo. He brought me 2 promo packs this time. Oh, March of the Machine promo packs. HR always looking for 20-year-olds with master's degree and 20 years experience, right? Oh my God. This Aladdin. How about this card? Aladdin? This is the Aladdin card from Arabian Nights. I think I'm saying it right. This is the prince from the movie The Dictator, right? The human rogue. Pretty cool that this card has been errated to be of the rogue creature type. It's an Arabian Nights rare. And I'll tell you what, this card has a following. There's a lot of people. This card has a following. Here's an Arabian Nights rare. Okay, so you want to speculate on a long-term position on this card. Here's a card that has a following. There is groups of people out there who just are in love with this card and will pay just about anything for a very, very good copy of it, because there's very few of these Arabian Nights rares. There's even fewer in excellent condition. There's even fewer in graded condition, and this one here has got a piece of Magic the Gathering lore on it because it comes from the Tales of Arabian Nights story epilogue. I wish I could use my Dual Brain Arabian Nights sword emoji here. I got to get some emojis. Morning, I'm here. I'm conducting an interview. Nice. Very nice. Nice to see you, Gaming Bob. Those emojis are awesome. Yeah, I mean, I do this for fun. Really, some people, I love the Dual Brain emojis. Those are awesome. The set symbol emojis, very cool. I think you got to get to a monetization status to be able to have the emojis and the memberships. So, MTG Roundtable is on tonight. Yes. But let's look at this Aladdin card for $100, okay? This card is a long term. I guess it depends on if you're a working man for the working man like Brody, you didn't come into this world with anything. You didn't come into this world with any money. You didn't come into the world with any knowledge of anything. We have to sort of pick up and scrape by and get along the best we can. And we're all in this sort of struggle together. So the best thing we can kind of do is support each other, be kind to one another, and try to learn from one another and figure out what's worked and figure it out along the way, right? A little bit of trial and error. Share with you some of my pitfalls and my biggest blunders in Magic the Gathering, and some of the things that I've been seeing as of late, and some notions that actually come to fruition. New Star Wars Unlimited. So check out this Aladdin card. Here's a card that there's some folks out there that would just pay just about anything for a really good, great copy of this card. As high as $300. All right, let's look at the chart on it. It was really volatile here around Strixhaven. A little, whoa, that's a little too that's aggressive. That's aggressive. So the Aladdin card, right? East to west, moving like this. Very big price spike here. Right there. Benson, I got a question for you. Did you hear the Pulse chain is set to launch? That's the cryptocurrency that we were talking about. That was maybe a scam. I think that's what you said. But it's been put on Twitter. There's some more Twitter news. It was said to launch in less than a week. So you don't pay. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. It's worth following it though, because like it's interesting to see where like you got to follow the money. Like you want to talk about history, and you want to talk about like history. Like money flows from place to place. It's not like gasoline that gets burnt up and it's gone. Throughout all of history, you can track the flow of money from different families and different markets into different areas of the world and through different corporations, and you can see where the money has been moving. So it's not a bad practice to follow the money. Crypto will age like a beanie baby immersed in milk and left out in the sun. Good morning. Is this Arabian Nights cards reserve list? No, I don't think so. It's not. I think it was reprinted in Chronicles. Yes, it was reprinted in Chronicles. This card is actually playable in Vintage. Okay, we're talking Legacy here, and this is actually a good card in Legacy. Let's read it. 2 red and 1. Gain control of target artifact. Lose control of the artifact of Aladdin leaves play, or if you lose control of Aladdin. This straight up steals your opponent's artifacts. He'll have the hours definitely, I think, and smell the same. I like. Let's see here. Deck's using it. Commander. Kibo the Octabi Prince, and Atog, Commander, and Jury the Master of Review. Yes, this is not reserve list. You can get it in Chronicles, and then there's this online version from Masters 5th. Masters 4th, Masters Edition the 4th. And that's quite interesting. So we talk Magic cards, we talk stocks, we talk finance, we talk money, we talk Magic cards, and how to get some fun into your collection. This is a good card worth getting. Even if you can't pay the $129 for it, it's worth right now at the vendor shop. Keep in mind, folks, this is an Arabian Nights rare. So like there's a couple of different ways to approach this. For example, if the market is softening and things start to, trend down and continue to trend down until like the end of the year, we're going to see. So what's sort of happening right now with inflation, the labor market, and forcing people into a very, very difficult positions. It sucks. I feel it too. Consumer products that aren't like essentials, like some magic cards, for example, essentials are going up in price, and then the non-essentials are going to keep going down in price. So if you're looking like for a card that's it's actually very rare, this card is super rare. You're very seldom going to find a mint condition copy of this card. But if you can somehow pick one up for under the $100 mark, there's a 6.5 for $26 on eBay. Buy it now. $45 for the Arabian Nights. Heavy played copies, lots of them around. Very difficult to find the mint condition ones. But I'll tell you what, as far as an Arabian Nights rare, like this card, I can't say it enough. This card's very special. It's been made into a Disney movie. It has a whole book, 1001 Arabian Nights printed around it. It's got lore behind it, and it's also got some amazing art on it. It's a rare. It's in the same category of rarity as Bazaar of Baghdad, and that card is like $4,000, right? So eventually, if somebody's going to corner the market on this card, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. There's people that will pick up a copy of this card each and every time, and there's only so many mint condition ones in circulation. Illusionary Mask, I don't even want to look at this card. I've been looking at this card over and over again. Illusionary Mask. This is like the Morph, the predecessor to Morph. Oh, did somebody... If Bitcoin is so righteous and perfect and valuable, why is the founder using a fake name? Nobody knows who that founder is. Like, I guess the concept for it is that it's not that it's righteous and perfect and valuable. It's the concept of open ledgers. And it's the concept of open ledgers and decentralized currency. It's the concept of transparency. There would be less corruption, and what the Satoshi guys that you're talking about, what the mathematical problem, that it's not the fact that it's righteous or perfect or valuable, it's the fact that he solved the double spending problem and the mathematical problem that comes with double spending and ledger transparency, right? If it's like this reserved list illusionary mask, okay? Let me give you an example. If there was a way to know, for example, how many alpha rares are there in Magic? There's like 1,003 of them, okay? There's only like 1,008 alpha rares. If there was a way to know exactly how many there were in existence, okay? If there was a way to know which ones were lost, which ones were stolen, and which ones and where they all were, not who had them, but just accountability. Say there was a GPS locator on each one of those 1,008 alpha rares. And when one got destroyed, or one got lost, or one got burnt, or one went the way of the dodo, was just lost in a flood, then poof, you could tell that it was gone. It would solve the counterfeit problem, because you would know exactly where all the copies of the Black Lotus in alpha were, and you would know exactly where they were all at one time. And if somebody tried to sell you one, you would know where it came from, and you would know if it was legit or not. Why are they selling it for dollars? I would say people got to eat too, right? Illusionary Mask. It's an illusion. It's an illusion, Benson. It is an illusion. Just like some stuff, you can't eat it, right? I like to do some research on it to figure out the different currencies and different funds and different things that have value in the world, and try and see where it's more. I would rather like look into it and understand it and try and understand as much about it as possible, rather than ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist and just say it's garbage, right? The other thing too is that in Canada, they introduced just recently in Canada, this week, they're starting to have open discussions about central bank digital currencies already in Canada. And just so you're aware, that discussion could be coming to a country near you, and it's already happening around the world. So like, there's people who believe that the Bitcoin and the blockchain technology was actually piloted by, it's just like Facebook. So like Facebook, when we first got Facebook, nobody knew what Facebook was and how popular Facebook was going to be, and that all the photos you uploaded onto Facebook, and people were the human trials for Facebook. And now Facebook is a huge multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that's hugely powerful, and like the people trialed it on the general population. So if you take that same possible outcome with cryptocurrencies, why wouldn't you just put it in the hands of people and get them to work the bugs out before you actually perfected it? Okay, let's check out Illusionary Mask. You can always put on your Illusionary Mask. This card, I keep seeing it on the movers and the shakers week after week on Legacy. And like, I gotta call it out because I think we saw it last week and the week before, and I'm running out of things to say about it. Because it's just like, it's the predecessor to Morph. It's on the reserve list. It's 2 mana. It's lets you play cards face down for colorless mana. If they get hit, they get a flip face up. I don't have a copy of this card. This is a card that kind of bugs me because like it's not something that I go, oh, I want to play with that someday. It has no playability desire for me. Unlike a card like Guardian Beast, like there's a card like Guardian Beast where I'm like, that's actually useful. I want to play with that because like I take the player's approach. I want to collect cards into the. I want to collect cards in Magic the Gathering, build my collection, and try and get some fun into my collection. But this card isn't a card that I see and I go, oh, one day I'm going to want to build with Illusionary Mask. The only way that I could see me wanting to build with Illusionary Mask is if I built a Morph deck. Maybe. And that's like, there's a lot of other decks that I would want to build before I build the Morph deck. So this thing is so low down on the priority of something for me to get. So it's also a rare. It's on the reserve list. Let's look at the chart on it. It's not a card that sees a lot of heavy sales. I mean, I guess, yeah, one as high as $1,000. See, this is the other thing too, and I want to talk about market cycles. Okay, so like, let's look at this card, and like whether you're talking about cryptocurrency, whether you're talking about magic cards, or you're talking about stocks, oil, money, and we're talking in history, there are market cycles that repeat themselves, just like the reserve list buyouts, right? So you've got, so it's worth paying attention to. I wouldn't discredit it and say, oh, it's garbage. I would like watch it. It's like free entertainment. If you watch the market cycles, like markets are cyclical, they repeat over and over again. Like we've looked at the chart from 1864 that shows like the periods when to make money and how the rich people in the world get richer and how it pushes the plebs like you and me down into like poverty, suffering from inflation and trying to make it in this world. So it's like these markets are cyclical. It happens over and over again. There's like the people who are mass reserve list hoarders and reserve list collectors are licking their lips right now, waiting for this to go even farther down so that and people who are sitting with dried powder or like large amounts of cash on hand are just waiting to pick some of these cards up for cheap once the cycle of the bear market cycle is over. And then it'll go back into another bull market. So like we're sitting here, we're doing this Magic the Gathering stock show, and like times are tough for me. Trust me. It's hard to go to the store and fill up the grocery cart. I like buy like half a bag of I have gone in Europe. So like I have family that's in Europe, and that's like where lineage is from. And like the shopping mentality in Europe is a lot different than it is here in North America. I'm so lucky to live here, and I thank my papa for coming here and venturing on the boat and getting all the way here in 1960s. Okay, so like that takes a lot of nerve to just pack up your suitcase and go. So like it's tough, but like the daily shopping I've been taking, so like parents, like that's sort of a daily thing. And like the refrigerators that they have in Europe aren't like the great big refrigerators we have here, where like here you got, I got 4 jugs of milk, I got 6 pounds of bacon, I got all this food in the refrigerator, lots and lots of stock. In Europe, they take more of the refrigerators are smaller, the living spaces are smaller, and you'd be shopping almost every second day for something fresh in the fridge, and you buy smaller amounts, but you buy more frequently. So like me, instead of going to the grocery store and doing the Costco thing and like loading up the cart with certain things, I do like the daily or every second day a small shopping trip, just buy what I need to get by. So there's different ways to combat inflation. There's one way is like metered expenditures, where you're just buying the essentials, buying what you need to get by. And then the other way to combat inflation is like for certain items that don't go bad, right? And this is it's funny because Magic cards, if you preserve them right, they don't go bad either. But we're talking about stuff we're talking about survival, right? So stuff like oil, like cooking oil, it's generally expensive. Those are things that if you can find a deal on it, you can stock up in large quantities because they don't really go bad. Like if it's really good oil and you're going to use it and it's healthy for you, some ways to combat that inflation is like to stock up on non-perishables when you can find them on sale, and wait for sales, because there's going to be people that are, what happens is people like go to that just buying the essentials, and then the people who make those products get stuck with an overstock of them, and then all of a sudden you walk into the grocery store and you see a cart with an item in it, and it's like $1 per item, and you're like, thank you very much, I'll take it all. Combat inflation by not buying bullshit WotC products. Well, this is the thing, is like with these awards that Wizards of the Coast is giving themselves, saying that this is the social aspect of the game, right? And I love this game, and I love the social aspect of it. I love sitting down and playing cards with folks, and like just the good talks and the debates and the strategy and like the math that's involved, and like the game is like a really good game, right? I love that. And that's like the social aspect that we all sort of know. But like the whole social marketing now that we're seeing with like different products for different types of groups, you know, different ethnicity and like inclusion, and what are those other awards that they give? Justitude, the one of the most just companies, the most ethical companies. All they're really doing is just trying to sell more products. It's like a big vacuum cleaner, right? More products, more products that appeal to a broader player base. They're not trying to be more ethical or more inclusive. They're just trying to sell more products. May ban right now. I want that wolf. Cool art. See, this is a cool card. Woolooly Wolf. So there's a guy, my cousin Jimmy. Okay, he's got this as his avatar, and it's a pretty cool card. I love the art on this. This is some Susan Van Camp art. Common from Arabian Nights, Woolooly Wolf. Tap it to give any creature in play +1/+1 till end of turn. Where are we playing this thing? Another Arabian Nights card. Decent card. This card's been getting some support all the way back from Zendikar. Decks using it? Says no decks found. Nobody's using this, but I think maybe Wolf Tribal would use it. I don't know. Perhaps. It does have cool art. Combat inflation by not buying bullshit WotC products. Did I say Bolshevik? I think I did. Really? Zuckerberg was willing to let Xi Jinping name his first child if he let Facebook into China. Yeah, and if you look at what's going on, like the fact that we can converse right now, May bannings. We're going to have some bannings right now? Interesting. Prime 406, are we going to see you on the round table this evening? Okay, well, Lily Wolf. Let's look at the chart on this. This is an interesting card. I think I should get one, like, eventually. Like, once we get out of... There's A and a B version. Let's take a look at the A version and the B version. I think the difference between... There's the B, and where's the A? Yeah, it's the mana symbol. So the A version is the dark mana symbol. Okay, there's two different versions. There's this colored mana symbol. There's the A version, and then there's this B version. The light mana symbol is more expensive. Interesting. Oh, I guess this is one of those things where if you know what you're looking at and you know the A's from the B's, and you see somebody pricing the Woolly Wolf incorrectly, the A instead of the B or the B instead of the A, pick it up. DJ says, I got an article on it, but there's been some talk on it on YouTube. Players are attempting to boycott WotC this month. Right? Just this month? Way too late. We should... Let's see here. The Woolly Wolf coming in on the movers. Aladdin's Lamp. You know what is cool about this one? I love this card. When this got reprinted in Chronicles, I was like so excited. And was it No, it was 4th edition. Because this is like the 10 mana creature. This is like the 10 mana, because Animate Artifact was a thing, right? What did you say? Animate Artifact? Let's check it out. Animate Artifact. Yeah, as long as creature is enchanted, it's an artifact creature with power toughness equal to its mana value. So like this was like, I guess it's 10, but this is before they could fit 10 into, this is a pretty cool piece of Magic history. Before they could put 10 into the mana symbol, they just put 2 5s. I like it. Instead of drawing a card from the top of your library, draw X cards, but choose only one to put into your hand. You must shuffle all the leftover cards and put them onto the bottom of your library. Instead, look at the top X cards of your library, put all but one of them on the bottom of your library, then draw a card. So you get to like the super duper scry. This is like the beginning of scry, I guess. It's like scry X. Oh, people want to boycott the Wizards. No one gave a shit when I called for a boycott. Well, here's the thing is, some people are going to just ignore the fact that that they're using a big vacuum cleaner. Without early voices, traction never occurs, though. Too little, too late. It's going to get a lot worse. Trust me, dual brain. Okay, so here's the thing. The people who are still like chasing the new products, and like there's a lot of people who are convinced that they can make a career out of Magic the Gathering in one way or another. I don't know how many people are like getting paid money to play Magic the Gathering. I don't think it's a very many people, but I know a lot of people spend a lot of money to go to events, follow events, and the player turnout is going to dwindle. I mean, it's going to take a little bit more time with hard times before that following starts to drop off, because there's already people bumming for money on social media. It's like people are literally going out on Twitter saying, I can't make it to MagicCon. Can somebody GoFundMe? And like, you know, it's getting bad when people are looking for GoFundMes to go attend MagicCons. Okay. It's like, I have an inherent right to go to these MagicCon events, and like due to circumstances I can't make it, GoFundMe. So like that is already happening right now. If you look, you'll find it, and it's scary to see. Okay, this month is getting a lot of attention thanks to Old School. Been saying this for a while. The entitled Timmy's out of the way, and the part of the people to boycott will never happen when you go people trying to get rich off Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I think there's people trying to make a living off of it. I think that's going to be tough. short term, like this is what I'm talking about. Like I was speaking about it just a little earlier, like when people are buying 2 sets of truck nuts for their pickups, a set on the front and the set on the back, plus the 45-inch tires and the double turbos and the Lamborghini doors and the laser lights. When there's so much money going around in the world, then you can make a career and you can make a business out of just about anything. I can make a business out of like selling keychains, you know, super keychain for $25. If people have lots of money and there's lots of money going around when cost of living is low and wages are high, there's a lot of money going around and a lot of people start businesses and start, you know, Magic the Gathering businesses. They you know, going to start making content. And say, hey, I can make a living off making content because there's a lot of money going around and people enough to support it. But the minute that changes, it's going to start to dwindle, and there's just not going to be enough people starting up little niche non-essential services. If you say, like, it's nice to have a business that is like in the entertainment business, but let's face it, not everybody can be an entertainer. Right? I mean, if nobody's got money to buy tickets to the show, people are just going to go to the store and buy. I know I am. I'm cutting back. I've been pinching pennies as much as I can, just buying what I need, trying to get by. And it's like, I don't have, if I go to see a movie, I want to make sure it's going to be a good movie, because I don't want to throw away 50 or 60 bucks to go see a movie when it's going to be a piece of junk. So like, it's going to take a while for like people who have, I want to say, it's going to sound mean for me to say this, but fake businesses. Like, I made a business selling Beanie Babies, and the market is booming because Beanie Babies are really hot. When there's too much money going around, people can make business off of just about anything, make a living off just about anything. You know, if I could just sell my chest hair online, if I could sell a jar of farts for $1,000, because, you know, people just have that kind of money to go around, then you can make it on by just about doing anything. But once that changes, you know, the people who control the money supply are like, you know what, this reckless spending, and people just have young people having way too much money. They're being wasteful with it. It's causing a lot of waste because they're just over consuming stuff. They tone that back by inflation, and that's sort of what we're seeing. So until that happens, you know, for a period of time where all of a sudden people run out of all this disposable income and have to go back to work and get a real job, that's where we're at. It's going to be bumpy times for another little while. And like, that's where, and I know Dual Brain's like, oh, it's too late for the boycott. It's like, I don't think Wizards is expecting this. They're like, it's going to get, they're like, we need to make more products. Okay, this group of people is out of money. Who are we going to go to next? Oh, the Lord of the Rings fan. Okay, once that's exhausted, like, they're turning their cheek. They're like literally abandoning their player base and left and right, their main core player base, and just looking for new consumers because they're trying to sell more products to more people. Once you've exhausted one consumer base, you got to come up with a Barbie edition in order to sell to the Barbie fans who still have a little bit of money left over or are willing to get out their wallets. And this is fact based on my opinion. This is a fact based on my opinion. Scalpers call fans assaulted Mark Halmer. Really? 6K subs, and his last bud only has 360. Some good, some views, not good. Timmy's Emporium. Timmy loves the new products. I can't help it. Holla super fast. Good for you, Timmy. You know, stick with what you like. And that's the other thing too. If you stick with what you like, you know, I just can't buy every set. We got Cyclopean Tomb. All right, let's look at Moat. And then I'm gonna have to run because Brody's got a full day plan. I got a day packed. I gotta kick some butt today. Got a busy day planned. I got lots to do. I got lots on the go, but I like to share it with you in the morning. This morning, it's May 11th, 2023. I want to thank you folks for joining me. Here's an example. Market cycles. Moat. Here's the card. that got a lot of attention when the guy made the video saying he bought out Moat. And this was sort of like, I mean, in a way I got to be thankful for that guy. And a lot of people on the Rudy video, they're like, you really hate Rudy, or you're jealous of Rudy. And it's like, I got a lot of thanks. For one, if the guy hadn't have made the video, it's just like what we're talking about with blockchain. If the guy hadn't have made the video, nobody would have known that he was buying this card out. So the fact that he was transparent and he made a video about it and said, hey, I've bought all the copies of Moat, and that's why that's why you can't find any. Standard is a big mistake that WotC let it get this far. Yeah. Yes, it's going to take some righting the ships. So if the guy hadn't have been transparent and so I got to thank the Rudy guy, and you also got to thank the guy who bought out Moat, because if they hadn't have made those videos, nobody would have been any of the wiser, and nobody would have known that they bought them all. But the fact that they did that gives us all an idea and understanding, and like lets us follow the money and look at it and say, hey, you know what? That's quite an interesting case study. If and this is when people jump on it and say, well, if he can do it, then I can do it as well. So then you get people copycatting the same type of behavior. And then with something like the reserve list, where there's only so many copies of it, it becomes more like a finite supply. And that's why like the Bitcoin is interesting too, because the Bitcoin's like a reserve list. There's only 21 million of them ever to be printed. Now, just like the reserve list, there's only so many cards. So that tends to be a trend in like valuables. Like when there's a finite amount of something, it tends to be more valuable when you can just make more of it, right? Like when the dollar was based on gold and then went on to petrol, you know, there was only so much gold, and then, you know, you could only have so much money. And then all of a sudden we went to the petrodollar, and then that was based on oil reserves. And then we stopped drilling for oil reserves. So then the amount of petrol in reserve behind that dollar changes. So now we're just going to go to like modern monetary theory, where you can just print as much money without any consequences. The problem is there's nothing behind it. So when something's got a finite resource behind it, it tends to do well over time. Moat is an example of that. The guy bought as many copies as he could have. It drove the price up, but it must be coming back to the market. And nobody's heard from Peter Barry or Chuck Berry or the Barry guy who bought out Moat in forever. Nobody knows if he still has the cards, if he sold them one at a time back into the market. But I think he probably did all right on the Moat, because this card's still at $1,349. An example of how like one person or a group of people can put together, and I think the number was $30,000 or $40,000 that they spent just buying out Moat, and that was enough to change the price and put it at to where it's at sort of today, and it's never really come back down. Our play group for Standard says no Fable, no Sheoldred. And the Armageddon. The Armageddon. The card that will definitely make you no friends at the table. I like playing with this card. There was a couple of old school decks that play it, and it's called Armageddon, and by one of my favorite players, Ollie Rad. I can't even say it because Ollie Raddy was one of the first people to put sleeves on his deck. So Ollie Rad, the long-haired, freaky-haired friend of Jesus. Pretty cool guy. Piloted the Armageddon deck, and I don't think anybody even knows what the Armageddon deck is outside of old school. There are a few decks playing it, Thalia and the Gitrog Monster, but this card's got some legs. Maybe we'll check it out a little later. Folks, Pinkertons are at the door. You're making a deck, right? Ooh. I want to thank you folks for tuning in here. It's May 11th, 2023. Mr. DJ Longhair, throw that link in the comments section for tonight's round table if you haven't done it already. I'm going to try and catch up with you guys live tonight on the round table. It's been a while. Brody's been working hard, just like you, the working man for the working man, giving you folks something to talk about, something to think about, and wishing you peace, love, and happiness, and everybody out there in the Magic the Gathering community. I want to thank you all for joining me this morning, where we talk stocks, we talk finance, we talk Magic cards, we talk reserve lists. It's Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, here on the Bro Show, here in the morning show. You like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Is there enough information out there, or is there too much information out there? Let me do it for you. I'm doing it each and every day, Monday through Friday, here on the morning show. We'll see you all folks tomorrow. I want to thank you guys for tuning in once again. Twiddler in the house, MTG Dual Brain, Tommy Siddons, if you're out there, Astrid Media, Kyle and Prodon, Timmy's Emporium, Prime 406 Games, Super Fast Tortoise. Oh, Benson's here in the house. Love you.